Okay, boys and girls, now that we've learned a lot about Georgia O'Keeffe, now I'm going to show you how to do her drawing. This is going to be a wax resist drawing that you're going to do. So you're going to have this nice piece of paper here. I want you to draw a flower. You can draw any kind of flower you want, but it can be in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe, one of the examples I showed you, or it can be a flower that you have seen or that you create. Whatever kind of flower you draw, it just needs to be nice and big and fill the space. So I'm going to start by drawing just a circle for the middle of mine. Then we'll draw the petals. You can draw them nice and big so that they go all the way out to the edges of the paper, as close as you can get. It can run off the page if you'd like for it to. If you want to add leaves, you may add leaves to the back of it, however you want to do it. So your drawing should look something like this when you're finished. Once you have your drawing complete, then you want to take oil pastels and trace your lines. With oil pastel, you push fairly hard. The oil pastel is pretty dark, and you can add details, so we'll add some little dots in here as if it's the middle of the flower. Then maybe I want my flower to be orange. So you take your oil pastel, but do you see how I'm drawing nice and dark so that you can see my lines? You may have to trace over it twice. But you're just doing the outline of the flower. You're not going to color it in. We're going to be painting over top of the oil pastel when we are finished. Trace all the way around every line like that. If you want to add some details in the middle, maybe you want to add a wavy line in the middle of your flower, you can do that. But remember, do not color it in, just draw the outlines. In my leaves, I like this bright green. I'll do my leaves in bright green. Again, I can put a line up the middle if I'd like to. Bright green, like that. Once you are finished with your drawing, it should look something like this. You can shake off the excess oil pastel. It should look something like that when you're finished. Now you're ready to paint. We're going to be using tempera paints that look like this. You should remember these from years past. A paintbrush, I have a couple of different sizes. You can pick a smaller or a larger brush, or you can use both if you'd like to. You're going to need a can of water. You're also going to need a sponge. All right, so the way this is all going to work, I'm going to put everything here so you can see it a little better. So your paints, when you're ready to use a paint, you wet your brush. Make sure it's good and clean. You might have to tap it out in the water, get it good and clean. If you have water dripping off the end of it, then you tap it on the sponge. Please don't break the sponges, and you don't want to soak all the water out. Now my brush is too dry, so I need to wet it again. Make sure I have a little bit of water, just tap it dry. And then I'm just going to start with the middle of my flower. And let's say I want the middle of my flower to be, I'm going to paint it red. I get some paint off the edge of the paint here, and I paint over top. But do you see that wherever the wax part of the oil pastel is, it sticks through, and then the red goes all the way around it. I'm ready for another color, so I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to tap it on my sponge, and then I'm going to get my next color, swipe my brush around, and then paint over top. Then you're just going to do this all the way around until your painting is complete. Now, once you've painted your flower, it should look something like this. Next, you want to paint your background of your flower. Your background needs to be a complementary color to your flower. If you look at the color wheel, look at the colors that are directly across from each other. Those are called complementary. So red and green are complementary because they are right across each other on the color wheel. Blue and orange are complementary. They are right across on the color wheel. And purple and yellow are across from each other on the color wheel. So I'm going to choose this color's complementary color and paint their background. And this is a a pink that's actually similar to red as far as color goes. So my background needs to be a green. I've already colored my leaves green, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a different color green for my background. And you can mix a different color or you can go with the color you already have, but I want mine to be a yellow green. So I'm going to get a little bit of yellow on my brush. I'm going to paint the background yellow. And then I'm going to wet my brush again, rinse it out. I'm going to get some green to mix in there together to make a yellow green, like that. So when you're finished, it should look something like this.